The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining our workshop about the School on Wheels summer program. My name is Natasha Bayes and I'm the team leader of volunteer engagement for School on Wheels. With me is Andrea Aguinaldo, our curriculum and outcomes specialist through our VISTA program. Andrea and I will be going over specifics of our summer program and answering any questions that you might have. For the purpose of sound quality, all participants are muted right now. You have the ability to ask questions anytime using the questions pane. Simply type in your question and hit send. We'll select the order for the questions and read them aloud. So let's go ahead and move on to our summer program. Everyone is here today. So Andrea and I are here and we will provide you with our emails after the workshop. So I guess the main question we're starting out with is why all the fuss about summer? And research shows that in general, students lose learning skills over the summer months. But for students experiencing poverty, the risks are higher. So as you can see here, middle-income students and low-income students may progress at the same level, but once summer hits, the low-income students don't have as many opportunities, and that's where the dips occur and the gaps in their education. So they tend to fall 2 to 3 months behind, score lower on tests during the school year, and are less likely to graduate high school and attend college. And so for these reasons, we have our summer program, and each year School on Wheels provides learning opportunities for our students to keep them from falling 2 to 3 months behind in the next school year. And moreover, studies show that students who participate in summer programs have higher test scores, perform better in reading and math, and are more likely to graduate high school and attend college. So I'm going to bring up a poll right now to see who we have online. Let's see. So I'm just curious. I'm wondering if you're out there, you're listening right now, if you could answer this poll. So how have you previously tutored with School on Wheels during the summer months? And we'll give this a few seconds for people to answer. Looks like maybe more no. Let's see the results. All right. So we had only 16% said yes and 84% said no. And then we're going to ask one more question here. Before this workshop, what did you envision working on with your student during the summer months? Maybe you were just waiting for this workshop, I don't know. So I'll give it a few seconds for people to answer. All right. So it looks like, where did it go? Looks like it said about 29% said reading, 21% said fundamentals, and about almost 40% said I didn't have a plan yet, and 11% said I don't know if I'll be meeting with my student this summer. So that's good. So reading and fundamentals we're going to be covering. We're going to explain to you how our program works. Not having a plan is fine too, because we're going to help you through that. If you don't know if you'll be meeting with your student over the summer, I would just suggest that you contact your regional coordinator and make sure that there's a plan to meet during the summer months, because they are very important. So our summer program this year is called Grow Your Mind, because this summer our students will be building a growth mindset by working to achieve academic goals. And so more specifically for this program, students from kindergarten to 7th grade will have the opportunity to fill a minimum of 2 academic gaps based on Common Core state standards within a grade level. So what is growth mindset? That might be a term that you haven't really heard before. And and we want to talk about why it's important to teach our students. So growth mindset is the belief that basic abilities can be developed through hard work and determination. In other words, growth mindset is also the belief that anyone has the ability to learn anything. From this description, it's clear that growth mindset is quite a powerful idea, especially when it comes to motivating individuals. In addition to this, there's scientific proof that growth mindset works. I'm sorry, I'm going to hide the poll here. Okay, you should be able to see the slides now. So specifically, research shows that growth mindset is a fundamental component in developing positive character traits such as grit and optimism. And to explain more about growth mindset, we'll now watch a video created by Sal Khan of Khan Academy.
What determines our intelligence? One school of thought is that, okay, maybe you're either just born with it or you either have it or you don't. Some people are smart, some people are less smart, or maybe you can change it. And it turns out there's actually been a lot of research on this in the last few decades. And the answer is pretty clear that your intelligence can actually be changed. What we've learned, what researchers have taught us, is that our brains are actually a lot like a muscle. We know that you can grow your muscles by going into the gym and doing exercise and straining your muscles. You don't just work on things that are easy for your muscles to do. You do things that your muscles have to struggle with, that your muscles have to strain with, and then they rebuild themselves and they come back stronger. By struggling, it's a signal to your body to devote more resources to that part of the body. And we see that exact same thing with the brain. And here are just a couple of examples of it. This first one, this shows how the human brain develops in early childhood. This is a depiction of the neurons in a brain at birth. And then over as a child develops, it interacts with its environment, it tries things out, it struggles to talk, to converse, to interact with folks, to understand the world around it. And as it struggles, you see that by age 6, you have a much deeper and much stronger connectedness between the different neurons. Similarly, I can never say that word. These are depictions of these are the neurons of two different scenarios. This is the nerves of animals that were in unstimulating environments where they're not around other animals. They're in a bear cage. And then this is the brain of an animal that is in a stimulating environment, that is constantly being challenged, that is constantly looking at stimulating new things. And so the big takeaway from this whole area of research is you absolutely can change your intelligence, that your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, and that the best way to grow it isn't to do things that are easy for you. That might help a little bit. But what really helps your brain is when you struggle with things. And it's actually research shows that your brain grows the most not when you get a question right, but when you get a question wrong. So at least for me, this is incredibly exciting because it lets me know that when I'm going through something and I'm facing those times of maybe a little bit of adversity or a little bit of frustration, I can feel good about the fact that those are actually the times that I am growing the most. And this isn't just something that I'm saying, nice words. Research tells us when you get something wrong, when you challenge your brain, when you review why you got it wrong, when you really process that feedback, that's when your brain grows the most. And that if you keep doing that, you're well on your way to having a stronger, more able, and I guess you could say smarter brain.
So we know the importance of growth mindset, but how can we teach it to our students? There's a few different ways. There's some simple, more informal ways that we can teach it by changing their language. We want to encourage students to use positive language. So instead of saying something like, if they say, it's not good enough, what am I missing? I can fix this, right? I can't make this any better. So that you might change that to, is this really my best work? Can I improve? I made a mistake. Well, mistakes help me improve. I'll never be as smart as her. So I'm going to figure out what she does and try it. So there's many positive ways that we can show students to kind of encourage that positive thinking and that growth mindset. And then there's some more formal ways. WOOP, or Wish Outcomes Obstacle Plan, is a simple goal planning method specifically created to induce and encourage growth mindset in individuals. So WOOP is about identifying a wish, looking at an obstacle that's preventing you from achieving that wish or goal, and then talking about the outcomes involved, and then also making a specific plan. And this WOOP plan has been scientifically proven to help children, adolescents, and adults achieve their goals. So this is an example of what it looks like, and we're going to present you with more resources on our website as far as doing more involved lesson plans. And there's other ways to do goal setting as well. There's the SMART method and different variations. So we just want to encourage that you set these goals with your student, and we'll talk about a little bit more later how it can be tied into our academic program. We also have some other resources. We have a growth mindset quiz that can determine what your students' attitudes towards growth mindset are in the beginning of the summer, and then that can also be used at the end of the summer to test it again. We have a curriculum, an 8-week lesson plan that can be used for about 30 minutes each session. And then we have additional lessons and videos that we're going to be providing. So we'll follow up with more information on the growth mindset. But right now we're going to focus on the academic section of our summer program, which is for K through 7 students. And I'm going to turn it over to Andrea to speak about that.
Hello. So as mentioned in the growth mindset video, our brain becomes more stronger when we work out challenging problems. For this reason, this year's School on Wheels summer academic program is much more intensive to encourage problem solving and growth mindset. Just to remind you, the summer program's specific academic goal is to help students fill a minimum of 2 academic gaps based on Common Core standards within a grade level. Now let's go over the academic program procedures. Later in the presentation, we'll go over particular details about the program assessments and resources. Okay, so the first step is for tutors and students to determine which subject areas to work on. The 2 subject choices are English and math. We encourage, although it's not mandatory, that students work on a specific subject area so that the tutoring sessions would be more specific and manageable. Based on the decision made in step 1, students then take the appropriate pre-assessment that corresponds to the grade level that they recently completed. For example, if your student just finished 4th grade, then he or she will take the 4th grade assessment. This is the procedure unless a tutor already knows his or her student's academic grade level. So for instance, if you happen to know that although your student just completed 4th grade, but his or her reading comprehension level is 3rd grade, then the student should take the 3rd grade English assessment. After the academic gaps are determined through the pre-assessment, students and tutors choose a minimum of 2 academic gaps to work on, and then create an academic goal plan using WOOP or other goal planning methods. There's going to be a mid-evaluation, which will be a short survey on how the student is progressing on goals. This survey would be available for all tutors participating in the summer program, whether they participated in the academic program or not. At least 1 week prior to the end of summer, students will take a post-assessment that is exactly the same as the pre-assessment to check for progress. That's the last step. Here's a sample schedule for the academic program to organize your tutoring sessions. It's up to you if you want to create a schedule with your student. As far as organization is concerned, the important things to consider are: 1, your student take the pre-assessment during the first meeting. 2, the pre-assessment results and goal setting happen on the 2nd meeting. 3, student take the post-assessment 1 week prior to the end of the summer. And finally, post-assessment results are shared to the students on the last day, and of course, celebrate the students' accomplishments. That's most important. So now we're going to talk about the assessments. The assessments pre and post will be available electronically. That means that it will be available via computer or your phone or by hand. Here's a short instructional video to guide your electronic assessment administration.
How to administer our online pre and post assessments.
Hi Mike, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Today we'll be doing a math assessment.
Oh man, why do I have to take this test?
The assessment helps us focus on what we should study so that you could do well in school.
Cool, where's my test?
Well, our test is on our phone.
Wow, a phone? I never took a test on a phone before.
Yeah, I'll fill out the first page and then I'll review the directions with you. Before you fill out the assessment, please read the note for tutors. After, put your student's name, first and last, then select if this is a pre-assessment or a post-assessment, and then write your name, first and last, and your email address, and then fill out the rest of the assessment. When you're done, press the continue button. All right, we can start. Ready to hear the directions?
Okay.
First, you must answer all the questions on the assessment.
What if I see a question and my teacher hasn't taught it to me yet?
Don't worry. On the multiple choice questions, if you don't know, you can just select, I haven't learned this yet. Here's an example, Mike. So if you don't know the answer to this question, you can select, I have not learned this yet. So why don't you go ahead and press that. There you go. Also, if there's a blank space, you can type the phrase, I haven't learned this yet in the box. Go ahead and type the phrase. Okay, good. Second, I could read a question to you if you're having trouble with the vocabulary.
Okay, that's helpful.
Third, you can use a calculator. And here's some scratch paper and pencils to answer the questions.
Thank you.
Also, there's no time limit, so feel free to take your time and don't rush.
Ready for the test.
Great.
Thank you for taking the time to help me complete my pre and post assessments. Assessments will help you know what I need to work on in math and English so I can get back on track and do well in school.
So, sorry, the video comes across a little bit choppy sometimes on the GoTo, but we have it on our website. We just wanted to demonstrate that it's a pretty easy process to do those assessments, and they're available online, which is sometimes is fun to the children. And I want to mention that was a student from our Skid Row Learning Center who stepped up to act.
Yes, and as Natasha said, the assessments are pretty manageable and easy to administer, and the administration for the electronic copies would be the same as for the handwritten exams. So now that we know a little bit more about the electronic assessments, we'll move on to the handwritten assessment. The handwritten assessments are similar to the electronic copies. The contents are the same, but the mechanics might be a little different. So, for example, one question in the paper copy version might ask to circle a word in a sentence, while in the electronic copy, this question appears as a multiple choice. The important thing to remember about the handwritten exams is that if the student decides to take this option, then the tutors must enter the responses into the online versions. This is really important. And here are the mechanics. So first, go to School on Wheels summer page and choose the appropriate subject and grade level assessment. Then simply input your students' responses. And assistance will be provided to those who need help inputting their students' responses. So after the student completes a pre-assessment, the tutors will then receive an email from me with a list of topic areas in which the student needs help. Here's an example of what an email would look like. Now, because it's important that students take the appropriate grade level exam, the email may notify the tutor if his or her student should take another pre-assessment based on the last grade level that his or her student completed. So, for example, a student who recently completed 4th grade must take a third grade assessment. This will be the case if the student scores 50% or less. The process would be reversed for students who scores 90% or higher, and then of course tutors discretion is advised in these scenarios.
Yeah, if you know your student is a certain level, you can drop it down to where you think that student is, and if you see them struggling, same case.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to setting goals, how we're going to set goals with the students. Once academic gaps are determined, tutors and students will set an academic plan using WOOP or other resources. Here's a sample of a WOOP plan for a kindergarten student, but I'd like to go over what a WOOP plan would look like for a student that's a little bit older. In a WOOP worksheet, as seen here, the student identifies a wish or a goal. So for here, the wish or the goal is, I wish I know how to closely read text for word meaning. And then the perceived outcome of this goal is to do better on English language arts exams. The next step is the obstacle. The obstacle that the student has identified for this goal is that the student doesn't really like to read. So a simple goal plan for the student then is that every time he or she is bored or tired of reading, he or she will closely read for at least 1 hour, then reward his or herself after by doing something that the student likes. Notice here that the goal plan is concise and specific so that it's manageable and feasible. And now I'm going to turn it over to Natasha. She's going to talk about how the login would be like for the summer.
So just remember, logging is mandatory. We do need you to log throughout the summer so that we can ensure the safety of both the student and you. And if you're missing some sessions, which hopefully won't happen, just make sure to log in a 5-minute session and we'll know that you weren't able to meet the student. You can put that in the comments as well. So for this program specifically, the first week you want to go ahead and log your student goals that you set, well, the first week that you set your student goals. Or if you're doing something with growth mindset, you could log in the mindset quiz results. And then during the program, we would like you to log notes of your goal progress and just let us know where you're finding accomplishments and maybe where you need more help. But also specifically reach out by email to Andrea or to myself if you need more guidance. And then the final week, we would have you log if your student reached that goal, in terms of your impression, and if you did the growth mindset quiz, you could log in those results. So I'm going to try to show you here what it looks like when you're logging in. So once you log in, it would be the same as your normal session. So you go ahead and add a session, indicate the time, the location. You can put some notes in the overall session comments, especially if you're working with a group of students. You could put some of the notes there. But if you're working with one student, we prefer that you go in and select that student and then continue to subject. And at that point, that's where you can select our summer program. And so I'm going to select that there, put the time spent on that, and then this is where you can log in some comments about your goal progress. So if you have any questions about that, please let your regional coordinator know or let us know. Okay.
Okay, so now that we just went through the technicalities of the summer program, I want to go over the list of resources that would be available to you as a tutor. So Natasha mentioned earlier about the goal-setting resources that will be posted on the School on Wheels summer page. In addition to those, we have also curated a list of resources to fill in the academic gaps. This list is organized by grade level and topic areas, which are specific Common Core state standards. Under each topic area is the corresponding assessment questions. Here's a couple of topic examples for third grade English and math. In addition to the specific curriculum resources, we also have more general resources for English and math. Included in these resources are digital learning resources such as academic apps like Khan Academy. And then also we have specific gaps for English and math to fill in academic gaps as well. So moving on to post assessments. Remember that the post assessment must be completed at least a week before the summer program is over. It requires the same procedures as the pre-assessment. Again, if a student completes a handwritten post assessment, the tutor must input the responses. On the last day of the summer program, tutors will go over the results with their students, and tutors will complete a short survey about the program. And this is the same for the students too. They'll also complete a survey. And most importantly, please don't forget to celebrate your students' achievements.
So also throughout the summer, students who are participating in our program, we want to offer some incentives. We'll have some prizes with special supply packages that they'll need for the next grade level, as well as gift cards. So yeah, if you just want to make sure that your student participates, they can be eligible for those prizes, and we'll keep you informed of what those are as the summer goes along. So I guess that's all for our content right now. We wanted to open it up for questions. I'm sure there are, it's still sinking in the different components of the program. There's a lot of information here. I just want to let you know that we'll be available on a continual basis for questions by email and phone. And the content is up on our website, and there's some description there, and we'll have a one sheet of the description of how you do the assessments. So let's see if we have any questions here. Go ahead and just type them in when you have them. We must have some questions. We did have a couple submitted ahead of time. I'll go ahead and move on to those. So one of the questions was, my student is enthusiastic about math and reading, and I want to make this fun for her. Yeah, so what we don't have, there's lesson plans and there's worksheets, but we also have videos that you could use to teach a certain topic, or that they, can encourage them. So those are linked in through our website, and you can play those on a phone, any kind of smartphone. Usually, most of them are on YouTube, or they're accessible. So that can make it a little bit more fun. And then we also have the online resources, and those are more interactive, and some of those can be used by phone. Others might require internet access, but that's certainly a way to make it more fun. Do you have any suggestions on that?
Yes, definitely part of the curriculum resources. There's a couple of activities there that are a bit more interactive. So that should be, there's certain games, so that certainly that would make it more fun, especially for students who are younger.
And we had another question. Do you get an automatic score after doing the assessment online, so you can start to think about the work to assign automatically, or do you have to wait to get feedback?
You would have to wait to get feedback because this is Andrea. When I respond with an email, I'll list the specific topics that your students need to work on, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and Andrea is going to be answering those pretty quickly and sending those out. Let's look over here. So I saw, where do you find the pre-assessments? They're right on our website. They're under a summer program. Just a heads up, we are going to be having a website change towards the end of this week or early next week, and so we'll send out an email about the restructuring of the website. But if you look for summer program on our website, you can find those assessments, and they're both online, or you can download a PDF and print that out. We also have a question. Let's stick to this assessments. My student is completing second grade but might be held back in second grade for another year. Which grade assessment would I use, second or third?
For this particular question, it's better to use the second grade assessment, and then even we'll see how well your student does. Maybe the student would have to take the first grade assessment, but to start off, definitely take the second grade assessment instead of the third.
Yeah, and that applies to all students. So just to reinforce that, if they're going into fourth grade, they're going to take the third grade assessment, because you wouldn't want to test them on everything they're already supposed to know in fourth grade. So go back a grade, and if you need to go back more than one grade, that's fine too. We just want to make sure that they aren't frustrated by the materials. And then we had another question. Is the growth mindset a separate program from the academic program where we do the pre-assessments and post-assessments? We want to integrate it. It's part of the program. You can use the goal setting through the growth mindset program, and you can informally encourage the growth mindset while you're doing this program. We're going to be speaking a little bit more about that. We're going to provide some tutorials on growth mindset. It's a new part of our program, but we know that it's going to be really successful with our students who maybe struggle to see how that they can achieve certain things because of their situations. So we'll send out more information, and there's a couple of things already on our website, and we're going to add the lesson plans in the next week or so. And there was another question as far as, is the WOOP form on the School in Wales website? Yes, it is on the website, along with, there's actually a whole guide on how to use it with a student. So that's on the bottom of the summer page right now. And if you have any trouble finding it, we can contact you, or you can contact us and we can let you know. And then what do you recommend as far as assigning self-study if you have to miss sessions over the summer? That's a good question. There are a lot of worksheets that you can pull from our program. I mean, I would suggest maybe making a binder of some things, and it's going to be a little bit harder to get the students self-motivated, but so I've heard some tutors have very self-motivated students. If they want to work on some activities, that's great, and then you can come back and you can go over them with them when you're back meeting. Maybe you can share what you're doing with the parent so that they can just know, in general what their child is doing, and if they have some time to oversee it, that's great as well. Or maybe the shelter staff or another tutor who's at the location. Let's see. So another question was, I'm currently tutoring at an emergency shelter, so I do not have a consistent student basis, but I would love to participate and do more tutoring. If the students are coming in and out, I would say the growth mindset part might be a little bit more successful for you. It's hard to really focus in if you only have a student for a couple weeks and you just, you don't know how long they're going to be there. But goal setting is a great thing, and encouraging that attitude that they can grow and they can learn. You can watch some videos with them about that, I would suggest. Again, let us know if you need more ideas and we can contact you directly. There's another question. My student doesn't like to read or write. I would like to learn motivation tactics as much as I can. We have some wonderful webinars, workshops that we've recorded previously on encouraging positive behavior and motivating students. So if you want to go and view those, I would suggest that. They're on our website under our workshops. But again, reach out to us individually and we can certainly provide help for you. Looks like that might be all the questions at the moment. I just want to reinforce again that we will be available for if you want to email questions you think of later. We want to make sure that we provide you support through this program. We'll have more tutorials available to you, and just let us know if you have any questions. And we have a recording of this webinar, so we'll share that as well with the presentation and with a kind of an overview of the program and how you do those assessments. All right. Yeah, so Andrea and I would just like to thank everyone for attending. We really appreciate you wanting to learn more so that you can help your student. Again, you do so much for our organization. You know, we wouldn't be able to serve pretty much any of the students without your help. And we really appreciate your volunteer efforts, and we want to support you in that process. And just let us know if there's anything we can do. We have some more workshops coming up in the month. We'll be sending out some notifications on there, and they're on our website calendar right now. So thank you again for participating and for attending. And just email us with any follow-up questions. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you.